He's with my man Charlie Mack. So Charlie was with me every step of the way. First out the limo. So Charlie has been with me, 30 years coming up in the business. So, he's surrounded by a whole lot of strength. He's surrounded by a whole lot of love.
Bothering me is that being a celebrity sometimes comes with, like, everybody wants to be successful in a celebrity and stuff like that, but it comes with, bullshit sometimes, and, that's the only thing that I hate about it.
Folks, something strange just hit the timeline. Word is Jada Pinkett Smith may have let something slip about the same elite circles tied to Epstein's island, and now the street connecting it back to Will Smith and Diddy. For years, the rumors about secret Hollywood gatherings sounded like conspiracy talk, but now insiders, old interviews, and resurfaced claims are lining up in a way that's got folks asking a dangerous question. Did some of the same powerful names from the music industry ever cross paths with Epstein's world? And if even a piece of what's being whispered is true, this story might be way bigger than anybody expected. And if you've got an internet connection lately, you know the Epstein situation has been shaking the entire elite world lately. Politicians, billionaires, CEOs, people who used to move untouchable are suddenly watching their names get dragged into conversations they never expected. Millions of pages of documents, files, flight logs, and testimonies released by the DOJ, and it's all putting pressure on elite circles.
Today we are producing more than 3 million pages, including more than 2,000 videos and 180,000 images. In total, that means that the department produced approximately 3.5 million pages in compliance with the act.
And when something like that starts unraveling, everybody connected to those circles starts moving differently. Some try to distance themselves, some deny everything, and some, according to what's being speculated online, start preparing to save themselves before the whole house collapses. That's where folks say Jada Pinkett Smith's name has started circling again. Cause let's be real, the last few years have already been rough for that whole household. Between the Oscar slap that shook Hollywood, the entanglement situation with August Alsina, and the constant rumors surrounding Will Smith's private life, their image as the perfect Hollywood power couple has already taken serious hits. But now that the Epstein convo is dragging powerful entertainment figures into the spotlight, the streets are starting to wonder whether Jada is getting tired of carrying the weight of Will's controversies. And if your ears have been down to the hood, you likely have heard of the speculation that Jada might be ready to distance herself from everything before the fallout gets worse. Now, before we even get to Epstein and those island rumors, we got to talk about the storm that's been building around Will Smith for years. And a big part of that storm came from someone who once claimed to be deep inside Will's circle, brother Bilal. Bilal didn't come out whispering, but swinging. According to him, the public image of Will Smith, the family man, the motivational speaker, the Hollywood golden boy, was never the full picture. Bilal claims what he witnessed behind closed doors didn't line up with the clean image Will spent decades building. One of the wildest claims he made involved actor Dwayne Martin. Bilal says what he walked into was a compromising situation involving Will and Dwayne that froze him on the spot. According to his story, the scenario he saw didn't match the public persona Will had carefully curated for years.
So, all right, I open the door to Dwayne's dressing room, and that's when I see Dwayne and having sex with Will.
Let me process that for a second. Who was on top?
It wasn't a top. There was a couch, and Will was bent over on the couch, and Dwayne was standing up. Like, it was.
Okay. What did you do?
I froze. What did you, see, I'm not used to seeing. Listen, it's traumatizing. I've never seen it. I don't watch games. I never seen a man f***ing another man.
Will Smith was bent over.
And Dwayne was killing him.
Condom?
I don't know. I don't.
You didn't look that close.
Listen, even when I was with the deer and headlights, and I finally said, "Oh shit," and they turned around and said, "Close the f***ing door," right? So I back out the door. I'm not going in there. No, I ain't going up in there. I back out the door, lock the door, I leave.
Again, those are allegations. But the reason people started paying attention wasn't just the claim itself. It was what Bilal said happened after. According to him, Will didn't call him to explain. Bilal says Will started calling him privately, not to talk, but to warn him at first, subtly, then darker. Bilal claims Will brought up an old Hollywood story involving a trans woman named Shalimar, allegedly connected to Eddie Murphy, and hinted at how quickly people tied to uncomfortable truths can disappear or have their lives destroyed.
So Will says, I gotta talk to you. So I said, about what? He said, you know what? And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. And he said, oh, you know what I'm talking. I said, well, I have no idea. What are you talking about? What we need to finish today? Like, I'm trying to get that out. So he said, no, we need to talk. So he said, listen, I made a call. Some papers are gonna come here today. I need you to sign them. And I said, why am I signing papers? And he said, listen, I'm trying to protect you. So he says 3 things that make me scared, because I fear no man but Allah. But I don't fear nothing but Allah. And he said that you remember the trans, I hope I'm saying it right, who got caught with Eddie Murphy. He said, you know what happened to him, right? I had no idea what happened to the trans that got caught in the car with Eddie Murphy.
Me either. What happened?
So I go home and Google it. They murdered him. Or the trans, I don't know to say him or her. I don't know what's politically correct. So I hope I'm not offending anyone.
It's transgender, but
okay, transgender.
Trans woman.
So, okay.
Not a direct threat, he said, just enough to make the message land. Keep quiet. When those claims first exploded online, Will's camp pushed back immediately. Jada went even harder. She framed the whole thing as a money grab, saying Bilal was lying about ever being close to Will or working with him in any meaningful capacity. She hinted legal action was coming and made it sound like a lawsuit was inevitable.
Yeah.
How does it feel in 2023 to still have those same rumors out about people you love, like Will and Dwayne?
I know.
That just came out too recently.
Yeah, you know, and let me just say this. It's ridiculous, right? And it's nonsense. And this is a person that tried a shakedown, a money shakedown that didn't work. We're going to take legal action. Because it's one thing to have your opinion about somebody versus just making up salacious, malicious stories. So that's actionable. So we're going to roll with that.
But then something strange happened. Bilal didn't flinch. Instead of apologizing, disappearing, or backing down like most people do when celebrity lawyers get involved, he doubled down publicly, even dared them to sue him, said if legal papers ever showed up at his door, he'd walk straight into court with receipts, witnesses, and evidence.
So, all right, I open the door to Dwayne's dressing room, and that's when I see Dwayne and having sex with Will.
Let me process that for a second. Who was on top?
It wasn't a top. There was a couch, and Will was bent over on the couch, and Dwayne was standing up. Like, it was.
Okay. What did you do?
I froze. What are you, see, I'm not used to seeing. Listen, it's traumatizing. Like I've never seen it. I don't watch games. You know, I never seen a man and another man.
So Will Smith was bent over.
And Dwayne was killing him.
Condom?
I don't know. I don't.
You didn't look that close.
Listen, even when I was with the deer and headlights, and I finally said, "Oh shit," and they turned around and said, "Close the fucking door," right? So I back out the door. I'm not going in there. No, I ain't going up in there. I back out the door, lock the door, I leave.
That's where things got uncomfortable, because after that challenge, nothing happened. No lawsuit, legal action, or follow-up. Weeks turned into months. Months turned into nearly 2 years. And still, silence. Then, in January 2026, Bilal popped back up on Tasha K's platform and repeated every single claim. Same story, confidence, and challenge. Go ahead and sue me if I'm lying.
You called her a dope fiend.
Yeah, I called her bald-headed dope fiend, without question. I told her she better sue me because
she said to TMZ when they asked her when she left the Breakfast Club,
yes,
she looked. They was like, "Well, what do you got to say?" And she was like, "We're suing. we're suing. And I was just like, okay.
Right.
That's been about 2 years.
Yeah.
And we haven't gotten a lawsuit yet.
No. And I said some pretty, what some people may think to be outrageous things, but I knew them to be true and had the evidence to be, to show that it was true. So from that, that's when Jada responded out of anger, not out of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Because for her to be a global iconic superstar, you rushed to the Breakfast Club to say, number one, that I extorted you. There was a money shakedown. You said you didn't have all the facts. So that puts you in legal jeopardy right now. You said all the facts will come out. None of the facts came out, right? So now you, Will, and yourself are in legal jeopardy.
Once again, he pointed out the obvious. Nobody had sued him yet, but Bilal didn't stop there. He said this situation went way deeper than one rumor about Will's private life. According to him, Will and Jada allegedly had a pattern of pulling people into their orbit using influence, mentorship, and connections, and then discarding those same people when things went wrong. And the first name he brought up that really shook people was Bryshare Gray. Empire fans remember Bryshare as the young star who seemed to have everything lined up. Fame, money, momentum, with Will backing him as the next breakout star.
He's with my man Charlie Mack, so Charlie was with me every step of the way. First out the limo, so Charlie has been with me, 30 years coming up in the business. So, he's surrounded by a whole lot of strength. He's surrounded by a whole lot of love.
Then suddenly everything collapsed. Arrests, public breakdowns, mental health struggles, DL spiraling online with his online page full of wild photos we can't even describe here. His career practically vanished overnight. According to Bilal, that downfall didn't come out of nowhere. He claims Bryshare was pulled into powerful entertainment circles too early, exposed to environments he wasn't prepared for, and left emotionally shattered. Bilal says he spoke with Bryshare privately and described him as devastated, crying, confused, and feeling exploited by people he once trusted. He claims Bryshare told him he was taken advantage of by powerful men in the industry connected to circles around Will and Sean Diddy Combs.
It's a damn mess. It's no other way to put it. This dude is going crazy, right? He's out there allegedly with male prostitutes in the trailer. He's acting psychotic, right?
The same thing he's doing now.
Beyond that. But this is why a show is going on, right? So I'm like, I pull him to the side, right? And I said, listen, I'm here to help you and so forth and so on. So he was like, all right, I feel that. He said, everybody on the set know you. Everybody seem like they love you. Okay. I want to love you because everybody else love you. I said, if that's what you want to do, then do it. But he kept acting up. And then one day I said, what the F is wrong with you? And he was like, you know. He said, Will me. Diddy made me. You know what's going on. Charlie made me. And I said, I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea. So he crying, no blood is coming from his nose. Yes, you do. And I'm like, yo.
Jaguar Wright echoed similar accusations, saying Bryshare was just another example of young talent being chewed up and spit out after serving a purpose in Hollywood power circles.
They trying to sell him out so he'll feel too embarrassed to file his lawsuit against Diddy for what Will and Diddy did to him. With Jaden and Justin present that tape.
Then people started looking back at another story that always felt strange. August Alsina. August entered the Smith family orbit during a vulnerable time in his life. Health issues, emotional struggles, and looking for guidance. Jada was publicly framed as a mentor and spiritual guide. But according to August himself, the situation turned into a relationship that left him emotionally wrecked. He claimed Will knew about it, claimed Will approved.
I actually sat down with Will and had a conversation due to the transformation from their marriage to life partnership that they've spoken on several times, and it, not involving romanticism. Mm-hmm. He gave me his blessing, and I totally gave myself to that relationship for years of my life, and I truly and really, really deeply loved and have a ton of love for her.
And when everything went public, Jada labeled it an entanglement during Red Table Talk, a moment that went viral across the internet.
You and I were going through a very difficult time.
Yeah.
And we decided...
I was done with your ass.
Yeah, you kicked me to the curb.
I was done with you.
Yeah.
Marriages have that, though. Marriages have that.
Yeah, we basically, we broke up.
And then what did you do, Jada?
Well, you know, I think from there, you know, as time went on, I got into a different kind of entanglement.
But once the memes died down, a lot of people started asking a deeper question. Why did August come out of that situation looking broken while the Smiths walked away relatively untouched and Diddy popped back into the picture? Because for decades, there have been whispers about the kind of gatherings Diddy hosted, the kind where phones disappear at the door and nobody talks about what happens inside. Stories resurfaced about Usher living with Diddy as a teenager, about Justin Bieber being introduced to him at 13, clips that once looked harmless suddenly started feeling uncomfortable when viewed through a different lens.
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. You know, I have been given custody of him. You know, he signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
Going crazy.
Crazy.
I moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you
New
over
York
to something
City.
called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's what it
Camp.
was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you
I
seeing?
went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
And that's when the Epstein conversation entered the chat, because Epstein didn't operate alone. His network involved billionaires, politicians, and powerful people who used private islands and private planes to move without scrutiny. Recently released documents have already dragged several powerful figures into uncomfortable conversations. Names like Jay-Z and Pusha T have been rumored in online discussions surrounding the Epstein files, though many documents remain heavily redacted. This brings people to the question circulating online right now. If Diddy allegedly moved in some of those same elite social circles, and if Will was closely connected to Diddy for years, could those worlds have overlapped? Especially when voices like Ali Carter have been speaking about environments where young people were allegedly moved between powerful men at elite gatherings. Ali claims she was brought into those spaces while still young, describing situations where individuals were treated like party favors in environments controlled by wealth and influence.
I was a party favor.
What does that mean?
I was a party favor. I was somebody you could take off the table.
So you're telling me they set
I set
on a table, like when you go to a birthday party and they have gift bags for everybody that comes that have candy and toys in them, and they set them on the table. So you're telling me at the freak off parties, they put on the table instead of gift bags, and then people can do what?
Take you off the table and have something to do.
And here's the part people keep coming back to. Diddy and Epstein were known to move within the same luxury island circles. Private islands, flights, and exclusive guest lists.
But again, see, he's in cahoots with Epstein. And then...
Was he in cahoots with Epstein?
Yeah.
Or was it just a similar type of an
No,
operation?
they were friends.
Really?
Yeah, because Epstein had on Miami as well. That really private, rich estate in Miami. So they were all in cahoots as well. But
now add Will Smith into that equation, someone who has been photographed, connected, and socially tied to Diddy for years. Suddenly, the internet starts asking questions. Is it coincidence, Or are we looking at overlapping worlds that are only now starting to unravel? And that's why some people believe Jada may be preparing to separate herself from whatever might come next. Because if the Epstein situation continues exposing powerful figures, anybody connected to those networks might eventually have to answer uncomfortable questions. But are all these stories just internet conspiracy theories stacking on top of each other? Or do you think there's a real possibility that powerful entertainment circles might be connected to some of the same networks now being exposed? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, because this story is far from over.